the meeting is being recorded. Just that you have a consent that you know you're being recorded. My name is Mandy Dornfeld. I'm a human development and relationships educator for the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension, and I will be facilitating today's meeting along with my colleague Heidi Keating, who's going to take the second half of our meeting today to really work on the strategic plan and also to work on the bylaws. So we are going to hop right in today. We're not going to spend a lot of time doing introductions. We'll save a little bit of that as we share in a bit. But let's start by sharing just a couple of updates that I have for you. As I said, if you did, will you let me know if you did not get an agenda? Because we will make sure you get one. I think everybody on this list should have an agenda. Let me know if you don't. We're all good? Okay. All right. I just want to make sure you have everything you're supposed to have. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the steering committee membership. So you will, hopefully you read the update. I send a weekly update to you. Currently we have 5 out of our 7 positions filled. We can still accept folks that want to fill out the committee interest form that you've been sent. I can resend it to you if you want me to. The plan is that we're going to go ahead with the 5 out of 7 individuals for those steering committee membership appointments. However, that steering committee could really use 7 people because there's a lot of work that will need to be done by that group. So we're hoping that a few more people will step up. Those names will be provided to the county executive for the May meeting for official appointment to those terms in that position. So does anybody have any questions for me about the status of those folks or the 2 open positions that are available?
Andy, you said for the May meeting?
Yes. We don't want to wait any longer. That's following our bylaws, that we want to get them on that so they can start their official terms in June. So if you know interested folks, please reach out to them. Again, just looking for those two more individuals that are willing to serve terms on the steering committee. If you need any additional information about that role and the responsibilities, I can certainly email them. They are included as well on the top of the steering committee interest form. If you need that form to send out, please do so. Just for a little bit of transparency, Extension has promoted that on their social media. We've also sent it out in our weekly newsletter for 6 weeks. That newsletter goes to more than 1,800 people per week. We've also shared it on our Twitter, Facebook numerous times. So we've promoted it pretty heavily. We're hoping that you're doing the same as a collaborative team, that you're sharing it and doing the asks as well. So any questions about the steering committee? Guys are quiet today. Sounds good. Okay, we'll move on then. Let's move on to the next piece. The Waking Up White video viewing. You should have gotten a flyer via email. It has also been shared widely and is on the website. Beth, do you want to just talk a little bit about the facilitation of that?
Yes, there's some facilitated discussion and some questions that are published for people who are doing like book reads or things like this. So most of the guided discussion after the viewing of it will be from those kind of questions. And I had to, of course, weed out the ones because we don't know that everyone will have read the book. So I took out ones that are specific to the book itself. But that'll be the guided question portion of it, and an opportunity for people to just give input. I think about a conversation that I had with some Rotary people, and it was shocking when people heard from the chairperson of the Rotary about her experience coming to Oshkosh and going home and crying every night about how she was treated. And there were Rotary members who'd been involved for a long, long time who actually went forth and apologized on behalf of Oshkosh. It was just one of those, once you start talking about it, a lot comes out. So I'm not going to go, force the questions, but I will be using some of the questions that were published with it.
Great.
Mandy, do you know how many people are signed up yet?
I'll look in just a minute. I'll pull that up. I have to use a different email login to do that. So yep, I'll let the group know by the end of the meeting. And then that roster is that flyer has a clickable registration link. We want to take registration just to be able to send out some trauma-informed care work before a prep email that will just encourage people to take care of themselves, watch the video, things like that. You have two options for participating. Beth and I really felt like it would be great to offer the people a community viewing where we'll use our Zoom platform. I'll stream the movie. People can watch it together. And then Beth will lead the conversation. But for those people who have watched that documentary, we wanted to be able to still engage with them. And then they'll be able to join in after the video viewing so that they can still have part of that conversation. So we have two ways to engage. What we really need from the commission membership is for you to promote this. So my office has created all the registration and document and flyer. Beth is facilitating the conversation, and really what your role is now is to get the word out to make sure that people are aware that this is the first official commission hosted educational event. Does anybody have any questions on that?
My only question, Amanda, for Beth, is there any limit to how many people can be in on this Zoom call, Zoom meeting?
I'm gonna let Mandy answer that because she's setting the Zoom part of it up.
Yeah, Mike, if we get more than 200 people, we're willing to invest in a bigger Zoom license that would allow us to convert it to a webinar.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Oh, that's fair. I just want to make sure that
there's
no absolute limit, because there is, we have to announce it. Oh, that's fine.
Okay, great. Sounds good. We're kind of hoping for not 200 people for a conversation. Poor Beth will be facilitating. We'll do some breakouts. If we get big, we'll probably do some breakout rooms and find a way to facilitate those in a more meaningful way as well. Good question though. Any other questions for that? All right, I will get you guys the attendance in just a couple of minutes. But I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to pull up the bylaws. I hope you had a chance to look at those before the meeting today. Just 1 second. So make sure everybody's going. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk a little bit about the feedback. I appreciate the feedback that I was able to review from the last meeting and just a couple of clarifying points. So you can see this, I hope. If you can't, please unmute and let me know, but I think you should all be able to see it. So this is a draft document because we don't have our mission, which we're hoping to get within the next meeting or two with the work that you're going to be doing with Heidi. So there were no changes based on your feedback on the representation, which is membership, how appointments works, tenure, training, the structure with the steering committee that is outlined. This document is all based on the resolution, so all of the language matches, all of the terms match, and all of the criteria for membership match the resolution. So these documents work well together and they have common language, and this is the bylaws again is just how you're going to run your commission. So it gives the opportunity for you to have a document to fall back on that will help guide you as you look at structure and planning and the way that you facilitate your meetings. So a couple of things to point out to you: as the steering committee becomes appointed, there's going to be officers. That's what the steering committee will be. You will see there will be a chair and a vice chair, a secretary, a membership steward, the extension liaison, and the community liaison. Will be extension and community liaison will be as needed and determined by the steering committee for serving the group. But those are non-appointed positions as outlined in the resolution. Sorry, I lost that word. So then you can see that all meetings of the Diversity Affairs Commission shall be held in a location that's designated by the steering committee. They will meet no less than 10 times per year. The yearly calendar shall be determined and posted no later than the January planning meeting. you know, and just the regular normal commission meetings will be open to the public, and following the rules and regulations of the county. Then just going into decision making, that the steering committee is the decision making authority of this commission, while taking feedback and advice and guidance from the commission at large. The steering committee does have the ultimate authority to make the decisions about the business of this group. And then you can just see that there's the how you can follow the amendment process to update your bylaws and change things. So you've had a couple of months to look at this document. We've been working on it for, this will be our second month. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about this document?
Amanda, there was a question that I had about the beginning where it talks about the application and appointment, and it says for members, it doesn't say for steering committee. Was that, I didn't see when you first started the document, was that changed?
Yes, we pulled that out, right? We did,
Excellent.
we changed that. Yep. Based on,
Yeah.
I listened to your last meeting and integrated all the
Perfect.
feedback that you had. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other concerns? Otherwise, what we will do is we will put in the accepted mission statement that you're going to come up with, and then this document will go with the strategic plan for approval by the county board as dictated in the resolution that was passed last year. Any other questions or concerns? Need for clarification?
I just had one question about the terms. I thought that we were trying to do some with a 1 year and some with a 2 year so that we didn't have turnover all at the same time.
Yes. So in the bylaws document, there is a caveat that says after the first founding year.
I see it. Thank you, Mandy.
You're welcome. No, that's a great question. So we write the bylaws for now. You have to write them for now. But the next time that you guys would go through and amend them, you're going to drop that staggered term, or you're going to drop that 1 year term. You'll just take it out next time. Any other questions or concerns? As we ratify this document, the commission then will be in agreement that this will guide the rules and operations of this commission. So it's a great opportunity. I appreciate everybody who's emailed me feedback, has talked through it, has called with questions, asked questions. I want this to be your document that feels like a right fit and also follows the rules that we are governed by. So any other questions or concerns before we move on? All right, hearing none, you will see this document in its final form at the June meeting if you get to a mission statement that you feel good about today. So Heidi has a big ask. So I'm going to turn it over to Heidi. Heidi, I will make you co-host in case you need to do any screen sharing. And then I will also get you guys the registration numbers for Waking Up White. All right, Heidi.
Thanks, Mandy. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here and to work on the mission statement. I'm with the Winnebago County Health Department, and as a planner, I've done strategic planning in the past. That being said, I think there's a lot of experience on this call, and if there's something I'm missing, or you have something to add, please feel free. So I don't feel like I'm an expert, just have some experience and happy to be part of this group. So I put some information together. I'll share that. And really, I believe our task at hand is to work on the mission statement and perhaps a vision if we can. We'd like to include that in the bylaws. And there's quite a bit of information, that we can use in the bylaws and also in the resolution, just reviewing that and some of the language. So I guess what I'll do is just start with sharing my screen with just some information about, just kind of a refresher as to what a mission statement is and some of the components that we want to include. Let's see. Okay, I just have to find my, what I'm missing here. There we go. Okay. So, just as a review, that the plan, that's not the goal. The goal is to achieve our purpose. And as far as mission statements go, it's really that result, what we're trying to achieve, what the Diversity Affairs Commission is going after. Why this organization exists and the result it's looking for. And some mission statements include how the organization will achieve the result. So there is a purpose statement that's in the bylaws. So that's something that maybe we can look at. And we also want to think about, what is bringing everybody together in that people are working on in the first place. So, and it can be stated like, well, what is the focus problem or the need that the Diversity Affairs Commission was created to address? And who's affected and how are they affected? So, it's really going to be, trying to do some discussion. In my past experience with strategic planning, it hasn't been on Zoom. So we're just going to have to, work together and see how it goes. But so there is, sort of thinking about like, what is it that the purpose, again, I do have some examples that we can look at. And also further down is the purpose of this Diversity Affairs Commission that's in the bylaws. So I'll just scroll down and then we can, if we need some examples, I have that as well. So the purpose.
Heidi, do you want me to put this on the Google Drive and email folks the link? And so if they want to look at it at the same time.
That would be great. I sent that to you, but it was kind of late in the day that we had already started.
I'll drop it in that and then I'll update that in the email I sent to folks and we'll get
perfect.
That. Yep.
Yeah. So what has already been created is to create an equitable and inclusive Winnebago County that fosters thriving communities for all who reside and work in Winnebago County. So that's in the bylaws. And, kind of going back up to what a mission statement is that, is that the purpose? Does that include the result? So does anybody have like the end result that this commission is looking to achieve?
It's kind of general, but don't we want to achieve a more culturally friendly community? I was even thinking like create an inclusive culture.
I was thinking kind of like transparency. Everybody should be on the same footing. I mean, there shouldn't be different levels of people. We're all basically the same, and we all should have the same opportunities and goals and hopes that, we're going to lead a successful life. We shouldn't be looked down upon by whatever race or color or level of wealth we have. I mean, people that have money are treated different than people that are poor. People that are white are treated different than people of color. We need transparency. We need to see people as in general and look at the good in everybody. I mean, that's kind of what I'd like to see. I'd like to see everybody on an equal playing field, not put on a pedestal because you might have a few $1 million, and we're all basically got good hearts and we all want to see everybody have a good life and a prosperous family. I mean, so I think we need something to get people where they're all equal, and how we do that, I don't know.
I agree with Steve. I'd like to see equity incorporated into it.
I think we, not only to be inclusive, I would like to see how we inform so that we know about the different cultures within our county, the different race, colors, creeds, whatever. I think we need to inform ourselves as we include them. And I think it's like a two-way street or a two-way thing. You know, not only do we have to include them into our way of life, that's probably the wrong way of saying it, but also I think maybe we have to learn more about their culture, how it's unique while preserving it. So that's the two things: inclusion and informing everyone.
Providing information, informing.
Yeah, education and like education to create a sense of belonging for everybody kind of thing.
Cultural, inclusive culture. So, and just as a, you know, kind of a reminder, the difference between a mission and a vision. A vision is the, you know, the inspirational ideal state, what success looks like, kind of this hope for the future. And a mission is, you know, what we're trying to achieve, kind of that result. So sometimes they're kind of, you know, is it this, is it that? The vision is maybe a little bit more inspirational. It doesn't want to be so maybe unattainable that, like, you know, that we don't see ourselves there. But so, you know, kind of keep that in mind maybe as we talk about what we're trying to achieve versus, and then what would that achievement look like?
Everyone should have that document. And I wonder, Heidi, if we should talk about what diversity, how we're going to define diversity.
That's a good idea. One of the things that I've just looked at when reading the bylaws and then the resolution, that it looks like it's focused on minority populations. You know, so kind of back to this question about, you know, what is the focus or the need for the Diversity Affairs Commission? And so even in its title, diversity, you know, what is, how are you defining it?
I think diversity is much more than color in terms of people's sexual orientation and religious beliefs and age, you know, gender identity, disability. You know, when we're talking diversity, I think the intent was to include just all different types of diversity, not just related to race.
I like the conversation. I like the language around minority populations because that really leaves our doors open, right? Does that feel right?
I like it.
I do too. Does anybody else have different language they prefer?
Is it better to say minority populations or diversity of the population on this?
Is it possible to say anyone who is not considered the majority population?
Underrepresented is another term that could be used.
So it sounds like there's wide agreement. I haven't heard anybody say there's not, that our language and consistent choice around diversity is broader than race and ethnicity, correct? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Absolutely, on my behalf.
Good. That's really good. That's good. That allows this group to subgroup itself, right? And expand our footprint as well. So that'll be great. Does anybody have any strong feelings that that's not the right direction for us? But as Heidi keeps going,
No, I think we are right. I think it should be race, color, creed, sexual orientation. Those are the main ones. I mean, and if we think of others, we can, but it shouldn't just be race, because I think this diversity is a lot more than just that. I would think. I agree with that.
This is Deb. If I agree too about the equity, because depending on treating everyone equal, it doesn't always work. You know, the picture of the 3 boys trying to look over a fence, and everybody has one box, but they're different heights. So the idea being one boy needs 2 boxes, another boy needs 3, and one boy needs none because he's tall enough. So we want fairness and equity. So that could be different. People need a say, well, like wheelchair ramps so buildings are accessible to people who may be in a wheelchair or whatever. That's just one example.
Okay, why does the Diversity Affairs Commission exist?
To improve the lives of everyone in this county, to make it a more welcoming place, to make Winnebago County a more growing, I want to say growing population. I mean, to enable Winnebago County to grow. I mean, I hope we get something like that. That's what I've seen the reason why they've been developed. Yeah.
I guess somewhere if you can put in there just to create awareness that there is disparity that needs to be addressed. People need to be aware. Like where I live, I don't see the blighted areas. I don't see the underprivileged. So I truly was not aware of them. I mean, I didn't go out and seek to see where the poorer areas of Oshkosh are. We need to make people aware that they even exist, because for a lot of people, they don't even know they're there. It's not in their standard life. They don't ever see it. So to them, it's like it isn't really there, but it is. And we need to make people aware that it's there, and we have to try to find a way to fix the problem so everybody has a good standard of living and can be proud of what they accomplished. And so I think we need to make people aware of what's out there.
Can we put some language around addressing the inequities that exist in our county that that this commission would be part of addressing that as a commission, and then addressing it to the further county.
I'd like to put something, possibly contribute to be a voice for the voiceless and to encourage action towards that equity within the community.
Yeah, I like those two things that you just said, the voice and the action part. That like rings very positive for the county.
Maybe also the word accountability.
This is great discussion. So, just looking at a couple examples here, the Monterey Bay Aquarium is to inspire conservation of oceans. And I think what's interesting about it is that the mission is not entertainment or education. It's about conservation. How they get there could be through entertainment and education, but their focus is what they want to achieve is conservation. So if we look at, so kind of thinking about the difference between how we would get there and what it is that we're trying to achieve, thinking about wanting to achieve equity, reduce disparities, or and then are there other, or is it culturally friendly, inclusive? What is this group looking to achieve? I think there's a difference between achieving, well, I'll ask, is there a difference between achieving an inclusive culture and addressing inequities?
Heidi, can I ask a qualifying question? So we have Winnebago County, the workplace, and then we have Winnebago County, the place.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any distinction in this document between the two?
I think that's a good question for the group. Why does this, thinking about how this group formed, what is the scope?
I ask that question because I think that there's things you do as a workplace to put things in, addressing these issues directly in the workplace and being, having some model of what it could look like in the change could definitely help that outer reaching piece of what happens in the community as well. So I think it's hard to push things out in the community if things are not being addressed internally as well. That's just my perspective.
I would say, and I'm going to make it difficult for you, Heidi, I think it's both, because I agree with Susan that, yeah, and I think I get what you're talking about, Winnebago County, and we should be an example but also I think we should also try to find ways to make the community at large or more inclusive and more diverse. And the reason we're doing that, I think we're doing it, is to make this area, this county more attractive for people just come to live, to come work, for business to come here to establish and to grow. And you won't get that unless you educate, celebrate, promote diversity of cultures. So I think it's both. You know, I know that's a big thing, but you know, I mean, we don't have to tackle everything at once, but I think it's both. I think it's Winnebago County government or Winnebago County in general, but then as a large, and because if you don't have a way of educating and making the community welcoming and inclusive for all the different diverse groups, you're not going to have businesses want to come here. You're not going to want get people of those different diversity groups to come here to work. I think that's a big challenge. I think that's a big challenge. I think that's why a couple of our bigger businesses, Oshkosh Corp and others, have a diversity person in their organization. Why? Because they see that they're going to attract individuals of different diverse populations. They're going to have to promote that in different ways within the community. So I know it's probably a difficult and not easy answer, Heidi, but I think it's both.
Would the mission be to pursue equity among a diverse county?
What do you think about so all of our residents thrive?
Adding to the current mission?
I think maybe something along the lines of have the opportunity to thrive, because I don't think that we can, I don't know that we can
Yes,
help
yes.
make that happen. We can help put that in motion and help create those opportunities, but
Yes.
I don't want it to imply that we're going to make sure everyone thrives.
Yes, yes.
Your section 2 statement seems to kind of capture it, the purpose of the organization. You could just put that into your mission. Like to create an equitable and inclusive Winnebago County that fosters thriving communities for all who reside and work in Winnebago County.
So, what's the result?
Sorry, can you clarify what's the result of putting that as your mission?
No,
Heidi,
what is the
or-
result? What is the result in this, the purpose of the organization? I'm just trying to like kind of clarify sort of the components of the mission statement. So, you know, what is it that the Diversity Affairs Commission is trying to achieve? And is it in here?
Well, it's the equitable and inclusive Winnebago County. I mean, that fosters everyone succeeding. I mean, you could even put it further fosters, if you want to spell out what equity means, you could.
So we could say that is a result. Do people agree with that is a result? And I, you know, again, I'm please participate. I'm not, I haven't spent time with this group, and so I just hope everybody has a chance to weigh in.
Yeah, I think our end result is we want to see transparency. We want to see the youth have the opportunities that every family should be entitled to. They should get a good education. They should be able to go to college. They should be able to get a good job. And it comes from basically the awareness of where the programs are. If they need help, we have to be able to direct them in the area where they get that from. Because you get children that are left behind, they have no future. If they have no guidance, where are they going to get the help to move forward? And especially now with the homeschooling, the people that are on the lower spectrum, they didn't have maybe all the technology. Their parents maybe didn't have the education. They're going to get left behind. So our goal, I would think, would be that they all have equal opportunity to go on and have a normal life, what you expect, to buy a house, raise a family, and whatever we need to do to give them that opportunity, that's the direction we need to go in. If we need to find resources to basically get them help after school so they can catch up, we need to provide that. And how we do it, I don't know, but that's something I think we owe them.
I would like to help people see that diversity is a strength, that a way that we can have a thriving community is by taking advantage of the strength that we have in diversity. And just to get people to realize that can promote many public and private endeavors.
Sarah, I'm not quite sure I'm going to get that. Diversity is a strength and used to county's benefit or advantage.
Sure, to realize that there is strength in diversity.
It benefits everyone.
Yeah, almost like to have Winnebago County citizens recognize diversity as a strength and a benefit, or a strength and a, way to grow. Yeah. Or an asset, maybe. Diversity is an asset to our county.
Well, you could take like our elderly population, people that are retired, they would look forward to maybe helping some of the youth that are struggling. If we could set that up as a committee, we'd be benefiting. The elderly would be having a purpose to educate our youth that are struggling. There's so many things that we can do in this county that we need to do. It takes a group of people willing to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And then too, we were talking about getting various representatives to do webinars or, discussions and that education piece. So, that there's that diversity being an asset to our county kind of already is sort of built in to what we're thinking long-term. Not that that should necessarily drive what we're going to put down today, but something to think of.
And it's so much easier to help the youth because they have their whole future ahead of them. Somebody that's 30, 40 years old, sometimes it's pretty hard to change their path in life. Their way is set and the impact is harder. But if you can impact somebody that's basically 10, 12 years old and show them that there is hope, that they might be the first person to graduate from high school and get on the track to a normal everyday life, we can make a big difference there, and it doesn't take a lot of resources if we utilize the people that already have free time. People retire and sometimes they wonder, well, what am I going to do? And if we could have a group set up where we had some elderly people that were willing to volunteer their time to the youth that are struggling, that they're not going to get through 4th grade unless somebody helps them. You know, they're too far behind. And there's so many things that we could do to make their future better. And that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see their future be better than what their parents are. You know, every generation usually is a little better than the generation before. And I think we could do that if we work together as a group down the line to set something like that up. You know, that would be my hope, that we could get the youth involved so that we have more success, that they can maybe be the first one to graduate from high school, maybe the first one to go to college, that they didn't think there was ever a chance they were going to do that. And we could do that by utilizing some of our elderly people that are looking for things to do. They would feel that they're providing a service to the community, and we would be providing a service to the youth to educate them so they can move forward.
Okay, so the result, again, going to go back to that. Equitable and inclusive. You know, thinking about, you know, the problem, you know, was this commission, you know, set up to address a problem? Addressing the problem of inequality, or is it like lack of awareness, or, you know, what was the purpose behind this group? Was there a problem as a spark to bring people together?
Heidi, I think that the idea of having an actual committee at the county level was to allow us to have action rather than a lot of discussion without action. And I think the whole purpose is that action is starting to happen in the community.
I would say, Heidi, it wasn't a reaction to anything specific. You know, I brought it forward because I know a few years ago, there was thought about having the diversity affairs officer or person for that would be shared between the county and the city, and that didn't go. And then when I talked to someone who was the diversity affairs person for the university, said, well, why don't you start with a commission? And I guess the more and more I learn more about a commission, the one commission I know about in Marathon County, it's something that we could use to address diversity, and we can feel those individuals of diverse groups more welcome, could bring equality and educate both ways. That's why I have steadfast brought this forward. Is there a big problem? No. I mean, I know some people thought, some people might think, is it a reaction to a problem? Maybe not in the county, but certain things. I mean, a few years ago when I first thought about this, it was the Latino Americans were having a difficult thing and now we still have back in with the boarding situation. Then it was, you know, the situation last summer with the killings and the murder and that. So is it specific to any Pacific in this county? I would say probably not. It's more of a general feel. I think it's a need to have more diverse community and reach out to people. And I think that's why many more of these commissions, committees, whatever, are forming, because I think they think it's a big need. And I think the big need, or not big need, but a need, is because if you want your community to grow, you're going to need this, because people of these different diverse groups won't come to your area. They'll go to the big metropolitan areas. And that's why if we don't do it, we are in fear of having those areas. Appleton has one, and even bigger areas have them. So Short and sweet, Heidi, probably not one specific problem, but that's why I think it was.
I don't have my notes in front of me, but when some of this group of people first started meeting, we had some like 3 goal areas. And those may have changed, but those areas were to provide education and information, which is similar to what we've been talking about. For us to look at how we present ourselves, and that was in a variety of different ways, with the websites and the brochures, and when you walk into certain buildings, is it culturally welcoming, things like that. So how we present ourselves. And then I don't remember what the third one was, but when you ask about a problem, there are statistics that show us that we are not an equitable community. So if you look at for example, the percentages of people from different racial backgrounds, and then take a look at the percentage within different look at Winnebago County as a whole. And Mike requested those statistics, and it shows us that there's not equal representation of different people from different racial backgrounds. We can show that within the school system, there is a much higher percentage of people with free and reduced lunches than from racial backgrounds than there is percentage of people. So we have data that shows us that there's not equity. So, if we're talking about trying to improve things and move the marker, we have ways to measure this to see if we're having an impact or not. And I'm not saying that needs to be part of the mission statement. I'm just trying to give everyone a little bit of a background to how some of this originated and what some of the things that drove us to want to, people who were eligible for Medicare and weren't signing up for fear, just there's a lot of different things that we can show numbers and facts that we're not where we should be.
One of the words I'm sort of thinking about here is maybe rather than create is improve. Beth, please, if I'm not capturing comments, please correct me. That there's evidence of inequality in our county. And so part of the purpose is to become aware of that and to address it. I mean,
And I think instead of inequality, we want to say inequity, because there's that difference between equity and equality, and we are talking more about equity when it comes to semantics. And again, I think creating opportunities. I don't want to sell ourselves short by just saying improve. I think some of the things that have also already been shared by people about, we want it to be much better. We don't want to move the marker. We want to shift things so that things are where they really should be completely. Oh, that's just me. So what do we have so far? Because I'm traveling and I can't follow you that way.
So we're looking for the result. There currently is a result in the purpose, the equitable and inclusive Winnebago County. If that's, is everybody in agreement on that as the result? And then the means, how is this group going to achieve that? And thinking about, kind of the scope and that, this is a group of, volunteers or, a pretty small group of people. A lot of strategic planning is, it's like for organizations that have, you know, staff and budget and all this kind of stuff. And so maybe that is something that will happen down the road.
I think to me, one of the means to get to that, and would be to provide information so the community gains a better understanding of what the needs are, maybe, or something about
Right.
something along those lines. I
To
don't know.
provide equitable opportunities for people in
Yeah.
our community.
Yes, yes.
You're right, because we are a small group, we can't do it all, but if we provide equitable opportunities for our
Mm-hmm.
citizens.
Okay, provide equitable opportunities, provide instead of information, provide, is that what you were thinking? Provide opportunities or provide information about equitable opportunities?
You know, I think we want to provide equitable opportunities, but we also want to inform the community about, you know, I don't know if we want to say what the needs are or what some of the inequalities are, or just simply understanding people from different backgrounds. But I think some of it is educating or providing information to people. You know, I think about every time we have these conversations, I learn something. And so there's a ton of people in our community who could really benefit from an opportunity to learn.
Yep. Could be
I
that.
really support that learning. We have to get that to the majority of people.
Yeah.
In order
Yeah.
to get to equity, that really has to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, equitable opportunities for growth or for learning, and what were some of the things Steve was saying?
Well, he was talking equality, which is
Right, for
simple,
learning,
you know.
growth, and you know, stuff for the future. That's what his thoughts were.
What about opportunities for learning, growth, and equality? I'm sorry, equity.
Right, so to take the equitable out and just provide
So, you know,
opportunities
again, it's not meaning,
for learning, growth, and equality.
I still think we should stick
Equity,
with
that's what
equity
I meant,
versus
yeah.
equality. But yeah, but that's again not saying that we're going to make the community equitable. We're saying that we want to put things in motion, create those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Do you want an adjective for the opportunities, or just take equitable out?
The word action stuck out to me, and I forget who said it, but maybe provide actionable opportunities for learning, growth, and equity. So it's not just the education and, you know, promotion of educational events, but maybe it's addressing workforce opportunities. So looking to hire for specific job positions that require bilingual individuals. Maybe it's looking at our workforce, and I know some agency workforce offers volunteer opportunities as part of work, or family caregiver banks as part of your kind of work benefit. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to offer diversity activities or lunch and learns, or something that's devoted time for a workforce that's encouraged by the employer, local employers, our employers. So something that's actionable. I think that stood out to me because this group has a lot of motivation, so that might be good.
And I think as a group, and this doesn't answer the question directly, but I think the initiative of this group since the beginning has been that action, but to also hopefully model something that those actions can start to take place within the community, but also provide guidance on how to implement some of the things that are happening, and provide guidance on making those actions and the implementation of new culturally friendly systems take place.
Or are you in the middle of?
People like actionable opportunities.
Yes, I do. Yes, yes.
Is anybody opposed to actionable opportunities? Actionable opportunities. So this is kind of the how actionable opportunities, and the result being learning growth and equity.
Could we say for equitable learning and growth? Because both growth and learning need to be equitable, right? We have to reach people where they're at.
Is that the result, or is it equitable opportunities, actual opportunities for equitable learning and growth to thrive in Winnebago County, or for, something?
One thought based on some of the other comments would be something along the lines for us to benefit from something, kind of searching for the word here, that sort of like at the end of it say, for the county to benefit from these results or something like that, because that's what we talk about. This is a win-win. We are a better place, and we have a better workforce, and are just better off overall. We benefit from this. And so maybe toward the end of the mission statement, we could say something along those lines.
For the benefit of Winnebago County?
Mm-hmm.
So we have, we are, we want, there's kind of like three pieces, like the who, what, where kind of is like, is it the Diversity Affairs Commission, or Winnebago County, or however whatever, if we're talking about this group, and then, the actions there, and then the impact or the result. So, if it's this commission is going to provide actionable opportunities for equitable learning and growth, and so then, and we take this out, and then the impact for, you know, and is the impact for the benefit of Winnebago County? Or is, you know, is there a way to kind of, what is the impact that?
I would think it'd be more for the community. I mean, the community as a whole is Winnebago County, but it sounds more personable. It's benefit to the community versus we're trying to benefit the county. We want the community to prosper and succeed. Doesn't really matter, you know, the county will do well if the community succeeds.
Or community members will succeed or have the opportunity to succeed.
Sure. It just sounds a little bit more personable, I guess, versus like the county.
I'm just, you know, trying to, is this what you're thinking? Provide actionable opportunities for equitable learning and growth for the benefit of community members?
I would think that would be a goal that we'd like to achieve.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine, Patty. I mean, community members or residents of Winnebago County, something like that. That, like what you have is fine for me. Yeah, that's. I mean, I agree with Steve. This is not just the benefit of Winnebago County, quote unquote, government. But it's Winnebago County in general and the population to help everyone in this county, whether you live in Oshkosh, Amarillo, whatever, and hopefully everyone will benefit.
I like the delineations that we often hear that say, do you live, work, or play in Winnebago County? So that, you know, everyone who spends their travel dollars or comes to events and, you know, so we can have that community approach.
What about saying for the benefit of all Winnebago County community members?
That's good.
That really emphasize, you know.
I just think the community means the people, and Winnebago County means like a business. As long as we got the community in there, I'm happy with it.
Or for the benefit of the entire community.
That works.
That definitely feels the most encompassing. That leaves our door open for a variety of opportunities.
What about something about like learning, growth, and change, or something like learning and growth? It's like that's good. That's very, like, we all need that. I guess maybe I'm reading it in that it's opportunities for learning, like equitable learning and growth. So everybody has that opportunity to learn and grow. But there is a result that in order to be more inclusive or to be more equitable. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I reading that wrong? There's the equitable learning and growth in order to be a more equitable community. I guess, I think that, I feel like that's what this group is trying to do, is to create a more equitable community. But I might be reading it in a different way.
So do you mean maybe take equitable out of the first part of that and just leave it as part of the results?
I think so. I'm just trying to, like, what is it that, I think actionable opportunities is great. And I think that it's like learning and growth is the process of how, and then to achieve, is it just for the benefit? Like, like, that's interesting. I'm glad I know that. Or is it, to change, the community? Is, what am I saying? I don't know. I guess the result feels like it's actionable opportunities. What is
And I
the
think-
actual result?
Well, growth is part of the result.
Mm-hmm. And that's if that's it for having the opportunities for people to grow, is one thing. I don't know if that also means be more equitable.
I think we're talking both, aren't we? We want to grow as a community and we want to grow in our understanding. We also want to be more equitable.
I mean, I guess I would maybe put equitable then at the end. Provide actionable opportunities for learning and growth for the benefit of the entire, of creating a more equitable community. Or, for.
How about towards creating a more equitable community? Provide actionable opportunities for learning and growth to create a more equitable community.
Could we say provide actionable opportunities for community members with an emphasis on equitable learning and growth for the community? Because we don't want to disclude the majority either, even though we're emphasizing the voice for the voiceless.
Okay, now there's kind of two different things here. Provide actionable opportunities for community members. I'm just going to put this in parentheses for right now. Provide actionable opportunities for community members for
To
learning
provide actionable opportunities of, hold on, what did I say? Anybody remember? Is anybody listening? To provide actionable opportunities of learning and growth provide actionable opportunities of
Or for members of the community.
for members of the community. Thank you, Sarah. And then I said with an emphasis on
equitable learning and growth, perhaps.
to create a more inclusive community. So we're not using that word twice.
Or if we just finish it after equitable learning, period. Learning and growth, yes, thank you.
Provide actionable opportunities for members of the community with an emphasis on equitable learning and growth. So we have what we do and the impact. So what we do is actionable opportunities for members of the community. And then the impact, the achievement, or the result is equitable learning and growth.
Does equitable learning cover having an equitable?
What are people's thoughts? Sarah, was that you that just asked that question?
No, that was Beth, but I was
Okay.
just gonna say, I think our front end now is way too big. To provide actionable opportunities.
So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a time. It's about 4:17. So Heidi, I'm thinking we're starting to lose a couple of folks that have to head to other meetings or end their day. So just wanted to give you that time warning. I'm the gong.
And I know this can be kind of, this is like wordsmithing. And I think it's really close. You know, I was just kind of scrolling up to see some of the words that we had earlier. Inclusion, culturally friendly, inclusive, transparency, opportunities, equity, fairness. Strength, diversity is a strength.
I would like to propose that we just leave it with this for now and then take some time to relook at it, rethink about it, and finalize it at the next meeting.
That sounds like a good idea, Beth. We made a lot of progress, I think. Thank you, Heidi.
I think the discussion's been really interesting and worthwhile, and I think it's really close, but probably sitting with it is a good idea.
What I'll do is I'll make sure that this version, Heidi, if you'd email that to me, I'll get that into our Google Drive, which you all have access to, so you can sort of like look at it, think about it, come with some suggestions in June. I think we're really close. Think about when we want our words, we want everyone to be able to understand what we mean. So we'll do what we call in extension the mom test. So when we get a draft, we'll send it to people who don't do this work and we'll say, what does this mean to you? And we'll get their feedback so that they might come back and say, this means you're building a more diverse community, or it might be, I'm not really sure. So we'll make sure we get it through that good testing so that our message is what we want it to be. Yeah, so any other questions? Heidi, you're a rock star. I'm so thankful that you work with us in Winnebago County. I appreciate this hard work that you're doing with this team. And thanks to everybody for their commitment and their time and their thoughtfulness. Any last questions before we head off into our evenings?
Mandy, I have a quick question for you.
Sure thing.
The
Heidi,
the
will you
Google,
stop
can
the
you-
share?
Oh.
Just 1 second, Catherine.
sure.
All right, the Google.
The
The Google.
the Google site that we use, is that built on every week? So like if we, or every month, so that if we save it as a bookmark, it will allow us to just continue to use that same one?
Yes, yep. Everything is in real time for that. So yep, it will all be updated as you put things in there and drop them out of there. They'll be real time. I love transparency, so I don't put anything in like an R drive at our office. I want you guys all to have access to everything that's in that document, or the whole drive actually.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mandy, I just wanted to double check too. At one point, I know there was something set out where you could get added to the distribution list for this group. Is everybody who's on this call today aware of that and on our distribution list, or how to get on regular updates and things?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is anybody not, well, have you all filled out the Google form that has 2 questions, your name and your email? I don't want to continue to use the calendar. That can really clog up emails if you're not accessing, your phone or whatever. I want you to be able to get an email, and this is the best, safest, most transparent way. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I want you to not have we don't even have busing in Little Shirts, so don't worry. I don't want you to not have access to the membership. So everyone has access to all of those emails all the time. They're in that shared Google folder. So just make sure and spread that form around if people want updates and invites to the Diversity Affairs Commission. We want as many voices as possible at the table always. Great reminder, Jody. Thank you.
Could I just add, Mandy, that if anybody wants for these meetings, or I think from every month now, will be on the calendar, and that's what I use to get into the meeting. I tried the link you sent earlier and that didn't work. I'm just giving you my info of that's what I use. So if
I won't delete them, Mike. I won't delete them. I'll use both.
Okay.
Yep, I'll use both. I'll always update the calendar with the link, and then I'll always send out an additional email. So some of you might get it twice, but twice is better than none, correct? Okay, thank you for that feedback. I will not delete the calendar.
Speaking of the website and the calendar and all that, I'm guessing Waking Up White flyer is not on the county website diversity link, right? Yet?
I think you're correct. Yeah, I was on it today. Yeah.
Okay.
Beth, is that something that you'll do?
Yes, I can. Yes, I will do that.
Okay, we've got it created. We've got all the links. We're taking the registration. So
yeah, I'll put the active link. I'll put the active flyer on that link on the county's website.
Thank you. There's 27 people registered right now.
Ah, nice.
I know. So keep promoting it. That's great. I'm excited, and I hope to see lots of your names and faces here in 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from today, actually. So any other questions before we head off? All right, look for my weekly update with anything else that comes up. Thanks again to Heidi. She'll be here next month as well. And then I look forward to a robust and thoughtful conversation as we talk about Waking Up White next 2 weeks from today. Great job,
Thanks,
everyone.
Mandy and Heidi.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Safe travels.
Bye.
Beth.
Thank you.
Hey, Mandy.
Yes, ma'am.
I am on right now the Diversity Affairs Commission communication, the Google form.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Sarah. Can I stop recording?
Yep, you can stop.
Okay.
Recording. Thank you, Jody.
Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.